So we're going to the screen share. There we go. So I will be talking to you guys about the Warface International, or INT, that's how I've shortened it, Open Cup, which is the name of the cup that will be given. The reason for this name, by the way, is because Open Cup is just a very, household name in the cups, and it hasn't really been used in like 4 or 5 years. I'm like, why just don't call the cups Open Cup, like instead of just having the clam rolls, like for example, which were kind of stupid. So again, the first reason what I'd like to mention is why we're organizing a cup on INT, or international. For the simple reason that competitive Warface is, in my opinion, just the best way to play the game. I enjoy competitive way more than ranked and even PvE most of the time. I used to play the game because of PvE, so that's saying quite a lot. The fact that we organized ourselves makes also us able to make our own rules. So different meta. That means different rules to how the cup is being run, etc., etc., which comes with its own benefits, but also challenges, which you will see soon enough. And like I said, it's a way to just show off to people and also just display that you are the best, because ranked is not the way to show you that you're the best, because everybody can stump some noobs. If you put good players against good players, that's the only way you can actually play. So the information about the cup is it's going to be at November 5th from 17 to 23 in the evening. So this time is in CET, by the way. So that's British time +1 basically, or the time for Amsterdam. And the end time will depend on how many teams have registered. So if it's going to be more teams registered, the time will also extend. That's as simple as it is. The registration will end on November 4th at 10 p.m. because then the day before I can do the seeding on stream, so you guys can see how the seeding is, who's going to play against who the next day. Simple as that. Tournament style is just single elimination knockout, so if you lose once, you're out of the tournament. Best of 3 for all matches from the semifinals, and before that, if you let's say you're starting from the quarterfinals, we first have best of 1s. Next list is we're gonna have just Plan the Bomb, of course. What else? It's gonna be on the seven official competitive maps, which are Bridges, D17, Destination, Pyramid, Yard, Factory, and I always forget the seventh, which is I need to think very deep. I think I forgot one. Factory. I forgot Factory. That was the one I forgot. However, you can see already here. Yes, as far as you just mentioned in the background, I have in the registration form a question regarding Palace. So you, as a registration, as the team will register for the cup, will have to vote on whether Palace will be added or not. And it will just be a normal majority vote. So let's say if 8 people are joining the cup and 5 people vote in favor of Palace, then it will be added to the map pool and it will be played. It's all your choice. If you don't like to play Palace, you can vote no. And if you vote yes, you can vote yes. You can even vote to replace one of the maps with Palace. Minimum number is 4, as I mentioned, instead of 8 from normal cups, because I just want to start out with just as small as possible, because yeah, as you may have mentioned, this is the first time we have ever organized a cup, and we would first like to see if everything is going well before we actually try something like bigger. It's just a simple fact of just starting out a little bit more careful. The server uses Amsterdam, unless the majority of them plays other regions. So let's say if you're playing with, if like 6 out of 10 of the players are from North America, we play on the North American server. Simple as that. But the chances are very low because most of the people play on EU. The armor weapon restriction is the custom meta, which I will explain later if you don't know about it yet. The website uses challenge. Now the next point is going to disappoint a lot of people who want to participate, unfortunately. For this cup, as I've mentioned, because of the fact that we're doing this for the very first time, we decided to not do a prize pool for this one. I think right now, I just really want to see if this cup is any viable. If it is viable and people like to watch and see and play it, then I will allow for prize pools. But then, if, for example, there could be an entry fee, for example. But that's exactly what the second point comes to. Another reason is because there's no prize pool, there will also not be an entry fee. Simply for that, because I want to keep the entry barrier very low. Essentially, because there's no restriction to entering. You just have to get a team that can show up on the cup. The rules and regulations. This is probably a very juicy bit for you guys. The meta will be the custom meta, and I think if you play in the tried mixes, you know what the custom meta is. And it's a combination of
Oh
legacy
yeah.
and it's a legacy and post vanilla combination essentially. I wanted to make something that was just the best meta essentially, something that was just combining the best things of a lot of the older metas because those are just the better ones arguably, like post vanilla, vanilla, legacy, like syndicate. Those were the really really good times of Warface, and I think a lot of you will probably agree on me that these were the times when Warface competitive was just at its best. Like you had the best class balance, you had the best gameplay, like the best moments. I think some of you probably have the nostalgia of like Captain Panic just jumping around and getting like an insane triple kill, or if maybe maybe like Kempil getting an insane triple, or like Shkonik. I think very very well known as one of Shkonik getting a 1v3 of the Scorpion against Asteria in 2017, and I remember watching that live, and that was very very cool. Like
Takes
those
me
were
back
really
to the
cool
old
times.
absolute power metas and
Exactly. It was sick. It was
yeah.
absolutely sick. So in order to bring that back, I decided to try to make a meta that is still playable right now. So if you could still use the items now or get the items now, also for free, by the way, because it is free to play viable. So if you don't have any of the gear, you don't have to buy stuff. All the weapons you can get are just free to obtain. I mean, most of the weapons, of course, you can. Some of the weapons you have to pay because they're not available otherwise, but the alternatives are just as good, so to speak. It has been tested and updated for multiple months as a result because we've been using it multiple times in the Try It mixes and in the Envy mixes before it was called Try It. And it also features class restrictions, which is kind of obvious because that's just the best way to balance it out. So one medic and one sniper, two engineers and two riflemen is the restriction. All these weapons will be allowed for their normal versions and with the same stats unless it states otherwise. So for example, F90 MBR, normal/crown, which means you can use the normal version or the crown version. Very simple. Some weapons have even got gold versions allowed, which I will explain immediately why. A gold FNFL is not as good as an AK-12 or an edge rifle or a seasoned Bren. And I still want to encourage people to use as many different items or weapons as possible because the reason why the new metas are just really boring is because there's just one weapon that destroys everything. Like you just use the Surefire and destroy everything, or you use the freaking Imbel IA2 Assault and destroy everything, and it is boring. So in this meta, for example, if you want to, for example, there's a couple of rifles which are just on top. For example, AK-12, but Edge rifle's just as good, Bren is just as good, Carmel's just as good. You could just use whatever you want because they're all just very closely packed in terms of balance. Same with the engineer. You can use the Chris. You can even use the gold Chris because it's just a normal one plus 3 bullets. You can use the LWRC in gold if you want as well. They're very closely matched, but one has less recoil and one fires faster. So again, it's all up to you what you want to choose. And for sniper in this case, essentially what I've done is I've allowed the faster snipers that do less damage to the limbs. So these are the AX38, Stair Scout, Macmillan, which are really strong if you hit the chest, but as soon as you hit limbs, they will just knock. So there's still a little bit of a skill gap involved. And you can also, if you want to be a more like passive player, you can use like a Bushmaster or a Trivolo, which does more damage, but is just a bit slower. So these will just guarantee you 1 hits, but of course you will sacrifice rate of fire and scope and speed. This company might have introduced, and again, you only have one sniper per team, so they're really important for your team's success as well. You can find the full meta and also a rule set on this list. Again, this presentation will be shared on the Discord server afterwards, so you'll be able to find this and just find out the information. Streaming and broadcasting, also important. I will broadcast all the matches because it's a bit of a shame that none of the cups that we've had are being broadcasted by anything, as well as the fact that, for example, like RU cups are not being broadcasted by EU like commentators anymore as well. Because it was really cool that we had like EU commentators on, like for example the LAN finals on RU Cups.
Yeah, back in the days, yep.
So in order to encourage that, we just stream them all because it's cool for other people to see the actual matches from like a different perspective. But of course, you're also allowed to stream your own point of view. And a little disclaimer: at least have a 2-minute delay because if you don't, not only will you interfere with the broadcast because the broadcast will be behind the actual game. And number two, you're compromising your own team, essentially, because you're just basically giving the other team a big beacon from, hey, hello, I am here, we're going to come go to 2 as well with us. So, little disclaimer, not only is it not allowed, it's also just straight up not a good idea. So make sure to keep this in mind. Also, notify me before doing so I can make sure this actually is the case, because you don't want to be in that situation. Trust me. And that's pretty much it. So, if you guys have any questions, I'll be willing to answer them right now.